chérie, chérie, mon beau Paris.
Hello and welcome to Paris Set Me Free, creative video tutorials or critiques, or perhaps I should say appreciation in this case, as I'm looking at 5 photographs sent to me by Daniel. Daniel's currently doing a photography course with me in Paris. He's doing the 5 times 2 hours, as we go out to Paris 5 times, looking at different aspects of photography and techniques and artistic considerations. So, in anticipation of this, he sent me 5 shots. Let's get straight into them. Here's the first one. This is it's a very nice shot. Just one thing here at the bottom, there's a white strip, so you need to get rid of that. And that, I like the framing. The fact you've made it more horizontal is nice, because it emphasizes these horizontal lines here, and this one coming towards you. It's a great shot. It's almost black and white. In fact, no, I think it is black and white, as I know that you like trying that out. And you've got this guy here, and I suppose what is his faithful companion, both of whom look absolutely dead. He's got his head bowed way down below his shoulders, and the skateboard has just given up the ghost. Obviously had enough after a hard day's skateboarding, and it's a great shot. There's a nice diagonal here between the guy's head and this line and the skateboard. For whatever reason, the edge of the skateboard is chopped here. If you couldn't do anything about it, fair enough. Otherwise, if you decided to crop it there, I wouldn't have. I would have left some space in front of that, and or try to frame it better when you took it, if that's how you took it. I don't like. That's one of the main things. There's a very, very strong human and emotional link between the tired guy, and the upside down skateboard. So these are the 2 main elements of the shot. So whatever you do, don't chop a bit of it if you can. And I think you could have avoided that just by tilting the camera down slightly, moving back or whatever. So that's a very nice shot, very strong shot, graphic. Look at these lines here. The black and white has emphasized the difference in the shades here of this. This is a very pale grey. It might be coloured, light coloured in real life, and this is medium grey, and a very nice graphic shot, emphasized, complemented by the upright black columns, almost turned into silhouettes, which makes the shot nice and strong. There's the vertical lines of the railings, and there's the vertical columns of the buildings as well behind. Right, let's just move on. I'll just quickly show you the variety of his shots. That's out of the 8 he sent me, I chose 5, which seemed to me to be very much linked to Paris. There they are, all extremely different. Here's a joyous colour shot. I can tell that it's Paris because you've got the typical Parisian chimneys and top of the building. Very top floors of Parisian buildings tend to have this slightly sloping grey slated look, with often curved windows at some points, and this marvellous array of oddly shaped and coloured chimneys with little bits on top. So that's great, and it's just out of focus enough that it doesn't get in the way of the main subject, but it gives a sense of place, which is great. It's some sort of parade. I don't know if it's gay parade or gay parade. No, hang on, what's it called? Anyway, the gay one, or if it's certainly not the Chinese New Year. I can almost say that for certain. Maybe they look like majorettes or something, cheerleaders. And there's a great sense of movement here. She's got this thing tossed up into the top right hand corner there. She's got a smile on her face. There's another one down here, and there's another one on the edge. So there's a real sense of occasion there. And there's these things which are flying around as well, these little pieces of paper. Now, movement. How are you going to show movement? For one thing, there's different approaches. You can show movement through blur, in which case you have the subject as just a blur of colour, but there's a dangerous line between artistic blur and just looking out of focus. Here it seems like Daniel's gone for capturing the moment, freezing it, because you can actually see every strand of this which must actually be flailing around as a complete blur in real life. So he's had either he's set a very high shutter speed, or the camera's done it for him. And you've also got these pieces of paper which are frozen in midair. Now another approach would be to go for the blur, but the danger is that if the chimney pots are already blurred, plus that becomes blurred, it becomes a complete mess. So it's rather delicate, and you can play around with different shutter speeds to try and get that right. One thing that's happened with having a shutter speed which is fast enough to stop movement, even quite fast movement, is that these little pieces of paper are frozen in midair, whereas in fact they're flying all over the place. And just by chance, this girl has got one stuck to her left eye and cheek, which probably isn't really the case in real life. This is probably floating around here. How can you avoid that happening? Because her face, after all, is one of the most interesting things. Take a lot of shots, because these are running all over the place at random, and so one professional technique to avoid that, which is often a problem, something in front of her face, is to take a lot of shots, and one of them will have her nicely surrounded by these little pieces of paper, but not one actually stuck to her eyeball, which is a bit less flattering. One other point on this photograph, it's a bit dull. Either you could have increased the exposure. It looks like the background was in sunlight and they were in shadow, unfortunately, maybe in the shadow of a building or something. Not a lot you can do about that, but something to think about. Here's the next one. Absolutely beautiful, classic Parisian view. Warm sunlight at the end of the day. These aren't really normally as orangey yellow as it is here. That must be low sunlight. Beautifully captured. The lamps are already in the shadow. You can see the shadow there, but these are still in the full soft glow of probably a low setting sun, unless he was brave enough to get up early in the morning. Completely filled the frame with this texture of buildings, and you've got a great row of Parisian lamps. He's got 6 of them in there, going diagonally down from the top left corner to the bottom right, which is great. If you'd been able to move slightly over to the right here, you could have even sort of lengthened this and really put this actually slap bang in the top left corner, not cutting it off, of course, and this one here could have gone down really down here in the bottom right. Could have been even stronger, but you know, I wasn't there, so I don't know what your limiting circumstances were. So it's a great picture. It's a very nice pure theme, and no distracting elements, no green litter bins or anything like that. So it's a lovely shot, well seen, and you've done well to decide to crop closely to not have any distracting paraphernalia. A couple more to go. This is an interesting shot again. They're all interesting shots for me. Classic French game, boule. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, and he's got a great take on it. I try and get guys throwing balls with getting the ball in midair, and it's very difficult to get the ball just as it's left his hand. Daniel's gone for a completely different shot, and it's a funny one. It's not funny because people walking are funny. People always walk, but look at the way it's positioned. It's really a very sharp angle. It's a 90-degree angle. It's almost as though he's about to go crunch on top of the yellow, what do you call it, puck there. It's not, or on these balls here, it's not touching them. It's just about to, and it's not touching there, and it's got curiosity value, I would say. And just for that, it's an interesting shot. Also, in terms of focus, he's done well. Look, these balls are in focus. Behind it isn't, and in front of here it isn't. The yellow ball is just coming out of the depth of field bit there. But the things with the actual pattern on are in focus, which is fabulous. So it's a funny, curious shot with a definite feel of France. The final shot here, as I run out of time, is a classic shot, and it illustrates 2 important points. A nice diagonal there going down with the row of people, and the person who is looking at us in the middle is in focus, and the 2 who are looking away from us are not. Good stuff, Daniel. Thanks very much for sending those in to me, and see you for our next session in Paris. Bye bye for now.
Depuis que je suis à Paris, le jour et la nuit, je suis gris. J'ai compris la douceur de vivre. Je suis fou de joie, je suis ivre. Depuis que je suis à Paris.